If I can encourage you to do one thing to change your life in 2026, to positively impact your life and set the foundation for achieving all of your goals, this is the one most important thing that you need to do. Speak positively to yourself. You need to change the way that you speak to yourself. If you are not great at talking positively with yourself, if you are having a habit of negative self-talk, you need to change how you speak to yourself. You need to change it in the way of moving towards a more positive self-talk. And let's say you are really good with your self-talk. You're pretty positive. You have been doing the work over the years. There are still small improvements that you can make. There's always room to improve. So we're changing the way that we speak to ourselves in 2026, and this is laying the foundation for all of your success in 2026. This is making those resolutions possible. This is making your goals that you've set really possible, because you're establishing the foundation of your positive self-talk and your self-belief by how you speak to yourself, the words that you use, and the words that you choose to represent yourself to yourself and out in the world, therefore the reputation that you build. So in this video post, I'm going to be sharing thoughts on neurolinguistic programming changes you can make to improve your self-talk over the course of this year. Let's get started on January 1st. I'm going to give you all the tips and tricks that you need to know. I'm also going to be sharing a few invitations. Namely, I'm hosting 2 master classes, January 17th and January 18th, for promising positive self-talk in 2026, and I encourage you to join me for those if you love a 2-hour deep dive on this topic. And also in this post, I'm going to share some sweet little stories about the impact of positive self-talk, the impact that it's had on my life and on other people's lives. Oh, hi kitten. My cat's coming to sit on my lap. So I'm going to share a couple stories I'm going to read to you straight from my Substack. It's called Step Into Love with Sophia. I definitely recommend you check it out. If you would like to click and listen to that post, you can. If you'd like to follow along with me more and receive more of my writing directly into your inbox, check that out at stepintolovewithsophia.substack.com. So let's dive into it. Why is promising positive self-talk in 2026 going to be the big motivating changer, the big cornerstone piece that all of your positive change will just rotate around, this establishing positive self-talk practice? So how you speak to yourself is the foundation for achieving your goals, because how you speak to yourself changes everything. The words we use reveal exactly where we are on our path to achieving our goals, and how we speak about our goals, our intentions, our dreams, and the confidence with which we claim them shapes our self-belief, our performance, and the energy that we broadcast out into the world, thus our reputation, as I mentioned. So, for example, you know what's so much more powerful than saying, I'm trying to write my first book, I'm trying to be a writer, I'm trying to write every day. What's much more powerful than that is saying, in confidence, I'm a writer. I am writing my first book. I keep a writing practice and I love it. Do you feel the difference there? There's such a big difference, you know? It's so much more powerful to claim and say with confidence, I am a writer. And that reality of having my book published is just catching up to me, babe. It's just right around the corner. It's happening. I am taking the steps towards it, and I have this identity now of being a writer. So speaking from the place of that identity that you want, that identity that is true for you. So that is the power of embodied confidence. This is something I teach and I'm so passionate about. I encourage you to put in effort. Of course, like effort, devotion, and dedication to what you're passionate about is so important and so valuable, but let go of the trying aspect a little bit. As much as you can, let go of this trying language and step more into the confidence of being an embodied language. So instead, you're going to embrace being the version of yourself who has already done the thing, and you feel into that energy of completion. What does it feel like to have this action done? What does it feel like once this goal is achieved? How does that make you feel in your body? How does it resonate with you? How do you feel out into the world? And feel into the embodiment of that truth for you. Because bringing this feeling into your body is really what accelerates those manifestations to you. And every time you go to do that action, you're getting closer and you're tapped into the feeling of having that done. And so it's exciting and it's motivating, and It's a self-fulfilling prophecy in that way. This feeling, this embodiment is what truly accelerates manifestation of your desired reality. When you focus on the distance between your desired reality and your current state, you magnify that distance. Instead, when you focus on the feelings of your ideal outcome which it gives you, the feelings that ideal outcomes gives you. For example, how I will feel holding my book in my hands, and I can practice this with other people's books, like how I feel holding their books. I just love, really tapping into that feeling of a published book. I'm so excited about it, so happy about it. When you focus on the feeling your ideal outcome gives you, and you bring those feelings into your life now, in any small way that you can, you draw those outcomes to you like a magnet, because like attracts like. So you're closing in on that distance. Here is a small shift that changed my daily practice, and I want to jump into a couple sweet little stories that demonstrate the power of making these neurolinguistic changes in your life. So here's a recent example that shows how powerful this has been in my life, even as recent as this past fall. So in October, I realized that I'd been consistently pushing back this time slot on my calendar to play my guitar every day. I'd had it scheduled for a full hour, but that felt too large. I wasn't in the habit of playing guitar, and for months I'd move back or delete that little calendar time block entirely because I was always finding something that seemed more worth my time, such as writing, posting, emailing, cooking dinner, or going on a walk, something like that. Then in November, I looked ahead to December, and I told myself that I wanted to play guitar with my little brother while I visited for Christmas, and I realized that I needed to start the habit now to rebuild my practice and rebuild the calluses on my fingers. So I remembered what my coach, Sarah, has consistently reiterated to our publishing program, and she teaches us sometimes it serves you well to actually lower the bar, lower the expectations so that you can get started. Instead of saying, I need to write for an hour, you can change it to, I've found a 20-minute writing block. Instead of, I need to write beautifully, you start with, I'm going to sit down and write the worst sentence that I can. I'm going to start with the worst sentence that I can think of, and that just gets the ball rolling. This gets you started. I applied this to my guitar calendar reminder. I changed play my guitar, keyword being play, to simply touch my guitar, and that really lowered the bar of entry for me and made it so much easier. And I shortened the time block to 15 minutes. So I lowered my expectations. That same day, November 1st, I committed to at least touching my guitar every day, even if that just meant tuning it or pressing my fingers to the strings, not even barely playing it. And I'm telling you, it helped so much. That lowered bar changed everything. I have played every single day for 2 months straight since then. And these little neurolinguistic switches are profoundly empowering. And this is why I'm so passionate about sharing them. So let me know in the comments if you have examples like this, like you changed play guitar to touch guitar. I would just love to hear other examples of this. I find it so interesting and so powerful, the ways that we can kind of make these little switches that really empower us. Here's more on why this matters. The neuroscience behind positive self-talk. So our subconscious minds are formed between the ages of 0 and 7 years old. Without awareness, we don't control how our subconscious was encoded with certain information in our surroundings and how we grew up and everything. But as adults with awareness, we can make adjustments. So we have the power to reprogram our minds and rewire our neural circuits. Your subconscious mind is responsible for approximately 95% of your daily cognitive activity and decision-making processes. That's why it's so important that we, as women, as men, and leaders in our lives, speak well to ourselves and others, that we demonstrate positive self-regard. And I'm passionate about teaching parents to speak well to their children and train them up in positive self-talk, because I really believe we can change our culture and create a positive impact on our future in this way. This is a major way that we can positively impact our future. I have a bit of a story here about my journey from self-hatred to self-love, from negative self-talk to positive self-talk. When I was a teenager and young adult, I really struggled in this vicious negative self-talk cycle. I'd pass a mirror and I'd hate the look of my thighs. I would say to myself they were too big, I would think they were ugly and gross and all this not nice stuff. This became a cycle that reinforced insecurity in my body, my appearance, and my visibility in the world. I had lots of social anxiety. I was afraid of being seen. I was just very uncomfortable in a lot of settings. But when I learned to change not just parts of my self-talk, but pretty much all of it, when I got specific and honest with myself and I did a self-talk audit on myself, and I'm sharing one below, like in this post, I've shared a self-talk audit, so if you're interested, you can go to my Substack and get that link and take that self-talk audit for free. So I started auditing my self-talk, and I was working with healers and practitioners, therapists, acupuncturists, and I've been a writer my whole life. I've always been writing, so I would write and journal and reflect about my self-talk. And just over the years, I kind of, did the shadow work and worked through all those little knots and figured out, where's the self-talk coming from? I was tracking the things that I said. I was actually being honest with myself on the shadow side. So doing that shadow work of being honest, like, what do you really say to yourself? What do you really believe? Like, even though it might feel also icky to admit it, admitting and recognizing and accepting that this is what you're doing is often the first step to making that change. So this shadow work of looking at even the really negative things that I was saying to myself became incredibly healing. Because once you accept something, you have the power to change it. Once you recognize it for what it is, you have the power and agency to change it. So amongst other positive changes, I learned to love and appreciate my thighs, my body. I became so grateful for my strong thighs and my athletic legs, which support me in so many ways, in all my comings and goings, all my daily walks, which I love to go on. And I'm grateful for my legs and all the movement that my body is capable of. So I learned to switch from this self-hatred talk to this gratitude talk, and always bringing my mind back to gratitude every time I could. And for another thing, I learned to incorporate that gratitude for those parts of myself that were previously my greatest insecurities. For another, I learned to reprogram my self-talk, and so I lessened the blows of those insecurities. I think both aspects of those are really important. First of all, I incorporated gratitude, and then second of all, I changed how I was talking about those insecurities. But both pieces are valuable. I know now how to manage any insecurity when it comes up because I speak to myself better now, because I know how to speak well to myself, and I respond to any insecurities with grace and forgiveness, self-understanding, and love. And that is incredibly powerful. And that is the piece that I want everyone to get to, feeling empowered in being able to respond well to whatever life throws at you. And you respond by treating yourself with that grace, self-forgiveness, understanding, and love. So over many years, I reprogrammed my subconscious mind. I used self-hypnosis, meditation, journaling, shadow work, light work. I worked with energy healers. I received acupuncture, which I love so much. And I noticed a serious turning point also the year that I turned 26, when I received 20 sessions of neurofeedback treatment, which helped rewire my brain and welcome in more alpha theta brainwave state, and helped heal my chronic anxiety, insomnia, and recurring nightmares. That was wonderful. After neurofeedback, I started posting on Substack because I told my practitioner I had this goal of I want to be comfortable being visible online and I want to be a writer online. And she treated me and really helped me get over those mental hurdles. So I started posting on Substack that very same year in 2022. I said I wanted to be more comfortable being visible, and then I was empowered to practice that belief in action. Since then, I've seen tremendous growth by continuing to use neuroscience-backed tools, including emotional freedom technique, which is something that I teach and will teach in the masterclass January 17th and 18th. And EFT has been particularly powerful for interrupting negative thought patterns and installing new empowering beliefs about myself. And I'm teaching it to others. Okay, I have another sweet little story about the power of positive self-talk in one's life. So this is a story on how to be an example of positive self-talk. This is a girls' night story, sweet little situation. I'm gonna jump into it. I was blessed with an early visit to Ponte Vedra, Florida for Christmas this year. My sweet friend Chrissy hosted a girls' night with me and my mom and sister and a bunch of her friends, and we had a lovely time. We socialized, we had sweets, we had a sweet time in community. And near the end of the evening, she gathered us for a community building activity that was profoundly impactful, and she said, basically, in some sort of way similar to this, she said, I want us all to go around the room and say something we're proud of from this year. I know we often don't say things we're proud of. We're all a humble group, but this is a safe space, and I want to encourage us to share. Don't belittle it, don't talk it down, don't negotiate, don't backtrack, just share what you're proud of. So we went around the room. It was so beautiful, it was so sweet. And then one of the women, Lori, shared a particularly moving story about how she trained her daughter growing up with her own iteration of affirmations from the book The Help. So she was saying, I'm proud that I've taught my daughter this and the way that my daughter has employed this in her life. So the affirmations that she taught her daughter growing up were, in The Help, it's you is kind, you is smart, you is important. And the affirmation she taught her daughter is, I'm smart, I am loved, I am worthy, I am a child of God, that sort of thing. Then this past year, the thing that she's really proud of is when Lori's daughter was 16, this past year, she was on the phone helping a classmate who was in distress, processing her parents' divorce and other things of that sort. So Lori's daughter came to Lori with that girl in distress on the phone and said, Mom, can you teach her what you taught me? And so then Lori and her daughter shared those lovely affirmations with this girl, and they were, I am smart, I am capable, I am loved. And this was incredibly sweet and healing for the girl, and also so powerful for Lori to recognize that her daughter saw the value in those affirmations and wanted to share it with a friend. So that's so sweet. We were all so very proud of that. There were certainly teary eyes in the room, and there were already some tears before that because some of the women were saying like, oh, I'm not really comfortable, being proud of myself, and I question why, and I struggle with self-talk, and that was bringing up some beautiful emotions, and people were welcomed in the space to be vulnerable and soft and gentle. So it was really beautiful and healing, and I thanked Chrissy so much for leading us through that community building activity. And so there was teary eyes all over the place, but it was very, very sweet, and we were all supporting one another and being vulnerable and sharing in this way, and also encouraging one another to allow yourselves to feel proud, allow yourselves to feel this gratitude and really revel in like what you have accomplished. So Lori said she was so proud of her daughter for sharing that with her friend, and we were all obviously very proud of Lori for instilling those positive self-beliefs in her daughter from such a young age. And we made a promise that night. As everyone wrapped up, I noticed a pattern that so many women had said, I struggle with positive self-talk, or had said, I know we don't talk that well about ourselves, but something that I want to change. So I spoke up with encouragement, and I said, it is so clear to me that each and every one of you is a humble, wonderful woman, a wonderful daughter, a wonderful mother, beautiful from the inside out. Each one of you is beautiful from the inside out, and you're loving and you're kind, and everyone is so humble. Well, except for me. I laughed to myself, and my sister added in herself, yeah, except for us Leitners, and we all had a good little laugh. And I added, that's also because we've been doing the work to be more comfortable talking about ourselves in this positive manner, and that is the truth. Like, years prior I wouldn't have, but I'm practiced in it now. So when I had said what I'm proud of, I kind of said it unabashedly, which is all right, all good. And so then I returned after our giggle, and I said, if I can encourage this group, I recognize a common thread has come up that many of us struggle with self-talk. And let's make a promise as a group, a commitment to ourselves that we will be the change we want to see. Let's promise that we will have positive self-talk, good self-regard, and be that light out in the world. Let's lift others up through our language and create those positive ripple effects that we want to see in the world. Everyone loved that encouragement. It was very sweet. So we girls had our healing time at girls' night, and then we came home to find all of our boys having their guys' night at my mom's house, eating steaks and watching Fight Club. and it was classic. It was very cute, but I love that story. We all had a beautiful evening, and I think it demonstrates the power of being together in community and healing, and let's promise to speak positively. So this event is really what inspired me to put together this program. This promise that we made together to speak positively to ourselves and be the change is exactly what inspired me to create this Promise Positive Self-Talk in 2026 Masterclass. And I'll share the links below so you guys can check out registering for that. But here's your invitation. I'm sorry I've tripped over my words a couple times in this video. I've just been excited talking about this, but take a deep breath, relax. I just love this topic. Here's your invitation as well. If I can encourage you to do one thing to support your goals in 2026, like I've said, to support your dream life co-creation, your New Year's resolutions, your intentions, your hopes, choose whichever term resonates with you the most. Here's the change that you can make. Promise to speak positively to yourself, and promise to speak positively to others, also for that matter. So, how do you correct your self-talk? You say, Sophie, this is great. I agree with you that this is impactful, but how do I actually do it? Okay, here's how. Change begins with awareness and acceptance. So first of all, you might want to start tomorrow, today. Start by auditing your self-talk. As you move throughout your day, gently listen with awareness to how you speak to yourself and notice the patterns. Don't be judge, don't harsh, but simply observe yourself as, judgment-free, anger-free, with loving kindness and forgiveness. Just notice what you do. And to support you in this, I've created a personalized self-talk audit. It's a survey, it's 26 questions. I've dropped it here. You'll find that link. It's in my Substack post. I'll also put it in this YouTube video. And this survey will show you exactly which patterns you want to address first. It'll kind of point out to you, are you talking negatively to yourself about this certain aspect of your life or kind of in general? So this will show you those areas so that you're not guessing where to begin, and you can start making those small shifts today. And then I will show you how to cement those changes in the master classes on either January 17th or January 18th. So you can take your 5-minute self-talk audit, and once you complete the audit, you'll receive personalized insights in your inbox from me. I will send you personalized recommendations for these little changes you can make to your self-talk. And again, even if you're already skilled at positive self-talk, there's always room for growth. So that email will be very valuable to you for establishing positive self-talk in those first 2 weeks of January 2026. And then we'll meet on January 17th or 18th, and we'll further establish and cement. But you're practicing those habits, and then it'll be a fully formed habit by the end of January. It's gonna be so lovely and so impactful for you. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope that you loved and enjoyed these little stories I've shared. I have a goal. My goal is to be on YouTube more, to improve the way that I speak and present here. And I know I am kind of doing this as a one-take video. I'm not editing out the little tiny wordy mistakes that I may have made, just because I actually think it's so authentic and valuable to see real time how people speak, and I love that when I see that authenticity coming through. So I'm going to share this how it is, but I'd love to hear feedback from you, like if you think, oh Sophie, I really loved these stories, but maybe you want to structure it, maybe break it up where you have a story per video post, or no, we liked it in this longer form content. I'd just love to hear your feedback. If you want to give me likes, comments, subscribe, I really appreciate that. Again, my goal is a lot of growth in the new year. Growth on YouTube, growth on Substack, growth on Instagram, growth with the number of clients that I serve every single quarter. And that starts with this prominent, see, I did it again. That starts with this Promise Positive Self-Talk program in January. So I said growth every single quarter, and that starts with this Promise Positive Self-Talk program in 2026. Try saying that 6 times fast. Maybe that's why I've tripped my words. Promise positive self-talk, promise positive self-talk, promise positive self-talk, promise positive self-talk. Anyways, so you can join me for the Promise Positive Self-Talk in 2026 Masterclass. Making a promise of positive self-talk will positively impact your life way beyond your wildest dreams. I can promise you that. I'll guide you through the neuroscience tools to rewrite your negative beliefs, program your mind with positive beliefs that will encourage and empower you, and set your internal space up for success in 2026. The investment is $26 for 2 hours of transformational work. Yes, this is $26 for 2026. It's intentional pricing for a very intentional year. I'll include the link so you can register. And we're changing how we speak because it changes everything. More forgiveness, less punishment. More grace, less guilt. More patience, less busyness. More kindness, less anger. More love. And that's why my publication on Substack is called Step Into Love. I'm so passionate about teaching people embodiment tools so they can step into love. Let's step into 2025 with confidence, positive self-regard, and positive self-talk that creates ripple effects in our lives and in the lives of others. So, if you know anyone who needs this resource, if you have a friend, sister, a colleague, or loved one who's ready to step into 2026 with more confidence and self-compassion, please share this with them. I'd love if we spread this positivity together. And here's to speaking kindly to ourselves in 2026 and beyond. With love and light, thank you so much. Take care.